Hello, and welcome once again to the House of Bob podcast. I'm Shaun, your Dungeon Master for today, and we're going to be playing some 5e Dungeons & Dragons. I'm joined by an all-star cast today, a mix of new and old voices that I have been very excited to gather together at the table. We're going to go around and introduce ourselves, starting with the players in the room. Obviously, I'm Shaun. To my left is Alex.
Hey-o.
Jake's across from me.
Howdy.
Mike is phoning in from Florida.
Hello.
Mike, you're from the Tales of the Glass-Guarded World podcast. Is there anywhere that we can reach you on social media?
No.
Okay.
Yes, you can look for us on Twitter as @TFTGGW, or you can look for us on Facebook as facebook.com/Tales from the Glass-Guarded World. That's a lot to type. You can also look for us at TFTGGW.com.
Myself and Schubert have both been on the Tales from the Glass-Guarded World recently. We're excited to have Mike here today with us to record today. And last but not least, we have a new player to the table, Janette.
Hello.
So today, we're going to be playing a one-shot session set in a homebrew world of my own design. This world is wild and untamed, with points of civilization and humanity few and far between. There are vast tracts of desert, jungle, mountain, or sea that hide histories of forgotten cities and civilizations that have come before. In this world, a number of mortals have achieved ascendancy. That is to say, they have garnered enough power, followers, and infamy to have become legendary and powerful demigods that roam the world, establishing dominion over others. They are, without question, the most powerful beings around, and gods as you know them in other settings don't exist. Either they've fled, been killed, or maybe been abandoned by their followers. All of our player characters today are followers of one ascendant or another, and are currently soldiers in the army of an ascendant called the Hound Lord. The Hound Lord is a famed soldier known for the strength of his bond to working animals. This includes dogs, but also horses, hawks, riding griffins, oxen, mousing cats, and other such domesticated animals. While not required by any means, many of his followers take on a pet as part of their devotion to the Hound Lord's domains. The Hound Lord is currently at war. A mysterious force known as the Herald of the Wrecked Comet is waging a land war against numerous kingdoms along an edge of wilderness that was once lush and beautiful, containing huge trees, rugged mountains, and crystal-clear lakes. The Herald's mechanical and demonic armies have trampled roughshod over the land and left a savage wasteland in their wake. Trees are carted south for lumber, hills are strip-mined for ore, rivers are diverted and polluted by the forges and smeltworks that run night and day. It seems like every day the army of the Herald grows larger. Presently, the Hound Lord, as well as a couple other allied ascendants, hold the armies at a stalemate along a stretch of ground known as the Carrion Line. It is effectively a dead zone between the two armies, where anyone who moves between the two trenches is blasted by magic, pin-cushioned by arrows, or otherwise cut down. The Carrion Line stretches about 600 miles from end to end, starting at the coastline on the Pembroke Sea and ending as the trenches hit the bedrock of the Three Banks Mountains. Today, as the sun rises over one of the Hound Lord's encampments, soldiers and commissioned workers move back and forth through rows of dusty yellow tents. A sandy grime has settled on everything, and as infantrymen slap on well-used armor, or as mounted scouts saddle up their horses and riding eagles, clouds of beige ash puff out, lighting thickly through the air. An ash storm from the Carrion Line had washed over the encampment the night before. A knot of soldiers begin to make their way into the trench, a long, narrow, and muddy gouge cut into the earth. It is the camp's last line of defense against the Herald's forces if the enemy were to choose to make a push today. Soaring high above the arrow range, dozens of hawks and gulls coast on thermals, keeping watch over the dead man's zone south of the trench. A few such soldiers, relieved from their night watch, makes their way back towards the cook fires and animal pens. They stop at the lieutenant's command tent to make reports. The lieutenant hunches over an array of maps, some nothing more than charcoal scrapings on vellum. A vein on his forehead so massive and purple as to resemble a thick worm trailing from his hairline betrays stress despite his calm behavior. The soldiers wanting to issue their reports must wait, for before him stand a squad of soldiers. They are a strange and motley crew, hobbled together from some of the best the lieutenant could find. They are his special missions paratroopers. Brave souls willing to go deep into the Herald of the Wrecked Comet's territory to complete tasks essential to the survival of the Hound Lord's line. Who stands before him?
This is Sir Marcus Gringlebus of Hogs. He is a halfling paladin and cleric. He's wearing a suit of full plate armor. He's wearing a light crossbow and a warhammer, and his armor is polished to a shine except for the boots from walking through the mud. He's looking around at all these tall people around him, wondering if maybe he's slightly out of place. But of course, he wouldn't tell anyone that. Outside is his loyal battle pig, Julia.
All right. Beside him stands whom?
Vlad von Sorrow, a man in his late 50s. He's got gray short hair and a gray beard that's neatly trimmed. He's wearing some chainmail, got some obvious wear on it. And outside is his boar, Misha.
All right. Who's next?
I'm playing Quarrel, who's a kenku. So you see a humanoid crow figure, feathered with a beak and that avian-style head. And he's just covered in various utility belts and pouches that are full of hammers and tools and nails and vials and unguents and potions and various bits of tick and tack like that. I guess waiting outside with the pig and the boar, there's his little animated workbench that follows him around. You can imagine kind of like a Boston Dynamics robot with those backwards legs, and it looks real awkward when it walks. It just has a flat work surface on top that you see as marred and a bunch of scratches and indents and dents and things like that all over it.
It's fucking cool.
We'll see.
Does it have a name or?
No.
No name. It's just the thing. And that, I guess, means we're left with Alex. Alex, who are you playing?
I'm playing Virosh. He's a barbarian. He has taken a vow of silence, so he can't tell you a whole lot about himself.
Maybe what he looks like, though?
Oh, he's just like a super big guy.
Human?
He is human, yeah. I don't play interesting characters, so he's human for sure. He's middle-aged, mid-40s. He's got shoulder-length hair and a giant bushy beard, and one of those big mustaches that extends down past the ends of his beard. And then running around by his ankles is his cat, Harold. And Harold is one of those cats that looks like he has a big mustache.
Oh, matching mustaches.
That's right, yeah.
All right, so Sir Marcus Gringlebus, Vlad von Sorrow, Virosh, and Quarrel stand before the lieutenant along with their sergeant, Humboldt Brandy Flask. He's a tall, wiry man with orcish ancestry. A red-tailed hawk perches on his armored soldier. He introduces you all to the lieutenant as his chosen experts. The lieutenant nods back. You'll be going deep behind enemy lines today, men. A rock rider has reported something very interesting, and command wants feet on the ground to confirm. All of our forces are suffering from the lack of supplies. Farmland within 2 weeks' march is stripped bare, some of it salted by the Herald's forces. We need food. We need water. The scout claims there's an oasis just southeast of our position. Now, we've never seen it before. How we've never seen it before, I don't know. And how the Herald hasn't raised it yet is beyond me. We need to know if it's real, if it still stands, and we need to capture it if we do. Be aware, if the Herald knows about it, he'll want to burn it. If he hasn't yet, then the bastard probably has a reason.
So you just want us to find an oasis and make sure it's there?
That's right. If it's there, and it's something that we can capture and is worthwhile, activate this. He passes you this little sphere. It's made of silver, and on one side it has bird's wings kind of engraved into it, and on the other side it has a skull.
Virosh just juggles it around in his hands and looks at it a bit, then just kind of shrugs and passes it around the room.
Lieutenant, sir, I wonder perhaps the scout. Which scout was it exactly?
Just one of the rock scouts, some foolish man who hopefully is telling the truth.
That man's my best friend. You watch your language.
Sorry, I didn't know. Forgive me, Sir Marcus.
Forgiven.
So are you saying that you indeed trust the scout?
I have no reason to believe that he would lie, but it's so close to our position. And it's within the Herald of the Wreck Comet's controlled territory. I'm surprised that there's anything left standing.
Yes, of course.
It's an anomaly. Usually the Herald's forces burn everything to the ground. They're strip mining, they're burning, they use all the wood. If there's a forest or an oasis out there, it's an anomaly.
So what do we do if it's not there?
Activate the life token, the life pulse token, and someone will come and pick you up.
When the lieutenant says life pulse token, I guess that silver sphere is passed around to Quarrel at this point, and he holds it up and points at it.
And the lieutenant nods, yes. When you find out what you need to know, trigger it. You can set it to life by turning the wings to the right, or death by turning the skull to the right. If life, we know you found a source of water and food, and we'll send forces to capture it. If death, we'll know it's not worth capturing, but worth destroying. We'll send rock riders with the blighters to destroy it. You should know that you don't want to be on the target zone when we arrive in that case.
Right, well, leave it to us. I'm certain that we are the right men for this.
All right.
Acknowledge.
Your squad sergeant salutes the lieutenant, and you guys head back out into the encampment. As you are walking through, you see people, training their animals, working with their horses and dogs. This yellow, dusty film that's over everything is getting cleaned off in the morning light. And you quickly come to the rookery houses. The rookery houses are home to a dozen large eagles, white-plumed and fitted with straps and saddles for riding. The rookmaster is a middle-aged fellow in gray sleeveless robes. The top of his head is shaved. You see several large scars running along his brawny arms. He introduces you each to an eagle that you will be riding and indicates that there are straps on the bottom that you will be able to attach your various companions to and be carted off.
Is this something we've done before?
You probably have done it before.
Yeah.
More likely you've ridden horses across or taken a secret passageway or something like that. And most people who are willing to ride these eagles or strap their animals onto them are pretty foolhardy or incredibly brave people. You know that once you cross the dead zone of the carrion line, the Herald's forces will be gunning for anything that's living, basically.
And I mean, you said paratroopers earlier. Is the idea we're flying in and landing, or is there a cool jump?
There's a cool jump.
We're provided with the appropriate featherfall rings or whatever.
Yeah, as you get suited up, the Rookmaster hands each of you a featherfall token. When you're ready to go, just snap this, and you'll fall as safely and as slowly as can be. Don't wait till long.
Virosh puts it in his pocket, looks him in the eyes, nods, and gets on his eagle.
All right.
So should I climb on top of Julia and then activate the token? Is that how that works?
Well, that's probably the best way to do it. I didn't think about that. I mean, if you can get the bird to land safely, then probably that's best. But yeah, if you can clamber around and cut the straps for her and then drop off that. Yeah, wow. I really didn't think this through.
Points to the feather token and goes more?
Yeah, I guess I can get you more. He goes over to a barrel and picks out a few more and passes them to you.
There we go.
Well, this seems to be a much better plan.
Virosh takes his cat and just puts his cat in his bag so that he can save his extra featherfall token for later.
There you go.
Wish I could do that with my pig.
Yes, I don't think I could even fit on mine.
Okay. You guys get all strapped up and everybody's getting all ready. The Rookmaster says, may the Hound Lord watch over your pack, brothers. The lieutenants told me you're flying and have a good time.
What's the weather like today?
Mostly cloudy. You should have lots of cover.
You know, friends, I know that this mission is going to succeed. You know how I know? Because pigs are about to fly.
Oh boy.
Allow me to explain. You see, there's a saying that says that it is unlikely that pigs would fly, you see. And you understand?
I'm not familiar with this, actually, no.
No?
Virosh nods like he's learning something new and arcane for the first time.
I can explain it on the way.
Fly. Oh, right. Yes.
You guys take off as Sir Marcus continues to explain this idiom to you. The eagles immediately start to fly due south, almost as if they're on autopilot, for about half an hour. The eagles are at a blistering pace, far outstripping the speed you'd have been able to take on foot. They do their best to keep the clouds banking sharply to stay out of sight of the Herald's long-range weapons that you know are on the ground. Even still, you do get glimpses of the wasted carrion line as it rolls out before you. The rotting dead of hundreds of battles litter the gray-brown desert below you. Massive depressions in the ground filled with muddy gray water mark the sites where powerful magic ruptured the landscape. You pass over several destroyed war machines, their elementally powered engines long dead. At one point, you see a mostly decomposed carcass of a rock. The colossal bird's feathers turn the dunes around it white for hundreds of feet. And then ahead of you, you see a green-black blob, slowly becoming visible in a depression between several hills. As you get closer, you see the green as a dark and verdant cluster of living plants, the canopy of trees. Mist rolls off the top of huge trees, a wind sighs through the branches. You've not seen a living patch of ground this far out in years. Just as you are embracing the wonder and mystery of how this site came to be, You hear a terrible buzzing and chugging above you. A beam of red energy cuts through the air, raking through the wing of one of the lead eagles. In fact, your squad sergeant's eagle.
Oh, no.
He's never that important anyways.
He was with us?
Yeah.
Is that Sergeant Brandy Flask?
Yeah. Oh, he goes down with a frenetic scream. The eagle pitches and careens to the ground, feathers and blood spraying through the air along its trail. Suddenly, the air around you is filled with black smoke as several mechanized cauldrons rocket and spiral past. Ducked inside the belly of each pot is a cackling and screeching creature, red-skinned with glowing yellow eyes.
Like, what is a mechanized cauldron? Like a cauldron?
Cauldron with mechanical pieces all over.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll initiative.
Starting out great with a 1.
Oh, not better at 3.
4.
14.
Vlad, as these mechanized cauldrons spewing black smoke behind them as they fly through the sky in wide arcs around you, they come around for another pass. You are the first to kind of get an action off. What do you do?
Can I dive bomb after the lieutenant?
Yes, you can.
I would like to do that.
You turn your eagle into a careening dive and it soars downwards, wings furled in. Roll an animal handling check.
6.
Your eagle is coming in as it gets closer to the sergeant's body, as it's just like ragdolling through the sky. You see a trail of blood gushing out of him as it comes through. The eagle manages to grab onto his body, but you're pretty sure that he is dead.
Okay.
That brings us to these creatures. As they come in closer, you see that they are controlling these like little levers and like mechanical wheels and stuff like that inside the cauldrons. They come up close and one of them pulls a lever on the front of its cauldron and unleashes this gout of flame that comes out towards a couple of your eagles. This is going to hit Sir Marcus.
All right.
Marcus, make a dexterity saving throw or an animal handling check.
4 with a dexterity saving throw or a 5 with an animal handling check. So let's call it a failure.
Okay.
We're off to a great start.
Yeah.
So right away, your eagle takes a burst of flame. That is 16 points of fire damage.
Does that also affect Julia?
She will take quarter damage just because she's got cover from the bird. And then second little cauldron guy is going to swoop in. And as he comes closer to Quarrel, the little red creature inside the cauldron, instead of pulling on a lever, pulls out this little rod made out of black twisted wood and blasts at you. That's a 12 to hit.
Nope.
Okay, so this red beam of energy bursts past you. Your eagle smoothly dives out of the way. It is the last creature's turn, and it's going to go for Virosh. It's going to come up, and it is going to attempt another one of those fire bursts at you. Make a dexterity check or an animal handling check.
That's a 16 on my dexterity check.
Okay, so you'll take half damage.
Oh boy.
That is 25, so you take 12 points of damage.
And then my cat in my backpack. What happens to my cat?
Your cat is covered.
Ooh, that's good.
Virosh,
He's only got 2 hit points.
Virosh, it is your turn. Right now, this charcoal cauldron contraption is just past you. Pretty close. Probably not close enough for you to hit it with a melee weapon, but you could maneuver your eagle if you wanted to, or
I could throw a javelin out.
you could throw a javelin.
I'm going to throw a javelin.
Okay.
Okay. That's a 13 to hit.
13 does not hit.
Okay.
It clunks off of the side of the cauldron and spins back off to the ground. That takes us to Quarrel.
Just help me visualize a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little mechanical cauldron, and
Yeah.
there's a little like demon guy inside
That's
operating
right.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Pulling on levers and squeaking and like chortling as he deals damage to you guys.
Sweet. So, yeah, the one that just shot the beam out of his wand at Quarrel.
Sure.
Quarrel kind of pulls the eagle around, pulls out, there's a big heavy crossbow on his back, and he takes a few pot shots at the little demon dude.
Okay.
First hit is 20 to hit.
Yeah, that hits. Your crossbow bolt hits true, striking the little creature just above the center of the chest. Roll your damage.
Well, 6 damage.
Okay. As your bolt pierces through this creature, it falls back across the back of its cauldron, and the entire thing just explodes, shooting shrapnel all over the place. Let's see if you are close enough to get hit by some shrapnel. No, you're outside of the range, and these pieces of metal just like fly all over the place. But your eagle is far enough away that you're out of its blast radius.
Can I use my second attack on another one?
Yeah.
let's do it. You can see actually after the bolt fires out of the crossbow, another one magically appears in the crossbow. What do you call it? The slot where the bolts go. The bolt slot.
The bolt slot.
Bolts.
17 to hit.
That also hits.
6 damage.
Yeah, you explode another one.
Oh, these guys aren't so bad.
Sir Marcus, it is your turn.
All right, is it possible to guide my eagle to charge one of them?
Absolutely. Can you make me an animal handling check?
Can try. Oh, that is a non-natural 20.
There you go. So 20 is more than enough. Your eagle is charging straight at this last cauldron. Did you want the eagle to attack, or did you want to do that?
Oh, I'll do that.
Okay.
Sir Marcus will cry out, "Prepare to feel pokey justice, evil!" Although it's not very pokey, it's a warhammer. And maybe that's why he misses so badly.
Your warhammer just falls a little bit short, swinging over top of the eagle's shoulder blades as it lashes out towards the cauldron, and you unfortunately miss. Vlad, you're a little bit lower in altitude. You look up and you can see one of these charcoal choppers still whirring around your friends. Sir Marcus has just missed it. What are you going to do?
How far away am I?
You could get up there if you push the eagle.
And then can I roll to see if I know what this thing is?
Roll an arcane check.
It's 18.
Ooh. The vehicles themselves are charcoal choppers. You've seen them on previous missions. These things are little contraptions with like big vials of oil in the belly. They are right now being managed or piloted by Magmen, some of the Herald of the Wreck Comet's minions. You know that the Magmen themselves are what's exploding and then causing a chain reaction with the oil inside the charcoal chopper.
Right.
Seems like a design flaw, but but all right.
Could I hit one of them without causing a bunch of shrapnel to hit my comrades?
It might be tight right now. What are you going to do to try and hit them?
I'm going to cast Sacred Flame.
Okay. I'll make a dexterity saving throw. What's my DC?
14.
The Magman fails his saving throw as he's like in an upside down position, just like whirling over top of Marcus. He's right above him and you cast Sacred Flame. It ignites the Magman. Do your damage.
9.
9 points of damage, and the Magman explodes, causing the cauldron to explode with it.
Oh, dear.
So, Marcus, I'm going to get you to roll a dexterity saving throw.
18?
18 is enough, so you'll take half damage on this. That is 10, so you'll take half, 5 points of damage to you, and your eagle is looking pretty haggard. Fortunately, Julia is unmarred. However, some of this oil has splattered onto you. Both you and the eagle are continuing to burn.
Oh.
Really, all your enemies are dead, so you just have to deal with that. How would you try and put this oil out?
I guess I would get out a water skin. Although if it's oil, water might not actually put it out. Good question. I don't really have anything to put out fires.
Okay.
Would water work?
I don't know. Try it.
I could pour some water on there, but if you've ever seen an oil fire, pouring water on it is not a good idea.
I don't think that's right, yeah.
All right, well, Marcus is not very bright, so he'll try pouring some water on it and try to put it out.
Okay. We'll take 2 points of fire damage, and then the water spreads it around enough that it burns out after that.
How's the eagle doing?
The eagle is pretty hurt. You can see that it is still burning, however. It looks like its wing flaps are faltering. It's losing strength.
Can I channel some healing into it?
Sure.
I'll lay on hands and channel, let's say, 5 points of healing into it.
You manage to, with that, douse the flame on it. The eagle's wing flaps strengthen and it catches another updraft, and you guys resume your flight, eventually very quickly coming above this forest oasis. You can see below you a whole mass of green foliage nestled in between these two hills. You can see in the center there's a pool of water. Looks quite substantial. You can see a couple structures or plants within the forest that appear to be like much, much larger than the rest. And your eagles just start to circle over top.
Do we want to land by some water? What shall we do?
Well, I'm still carrying the lieutenant, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Quarrel
the sergeant
down.
Yeah, I think we ought to land the eagles.
Okay, so the eagles begin to circle down and eventually coming down to rest on the sand just outside of the forest. They sets down the sergeant, and you guys jump off and run up to his body. He is there. His greenish skin is marred with burn marks all over him. His lips are cracked. Blood is coming from it. And you must continue the mission.
Yes, just relax, Lieutenant. I will spare you. Just quiet now. I actually don't know if spare the dying would work if he's not dead yet.
You know that it would preserve him or put him into a stasis. You think that the type of injuries that he sustained, you probably would not be able to heal him.
Okay, but I could
keep him alive in order to get back to better healers. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so he is put into like a stasis sleep. His eyes close, his breathing eases, and you can see that his pulse slows and the bleeding begins to kind of ebb. If you can get him out of here, he'll probably survive.
Rest now, sweet prince.
He said they looked for this oasis.
Yeah.
Is there a particular feature that we're looking for? Like, how do we know when we found it, I guess?
Yeah, there are trees.
The lieutenant seemed to be wondering like if it was a viable resource that the army could use.
So we should be gathering more information about the immediate area.
Yeah.
Okay.
You find yourselves just on the outskirts of this forest, the dense foliage of this strange new oasis. The forest in front of you, you can see, is actually literally alive and bursting with growth at breakneck speed. Seeds are dropping from reaching branches of plants. They hit the ground and immediately burst into little tiny green shoots. The oasis is expanding before your eyes. They take hold, stalks and trunks grow, leaves unfurl, flowers bloom. There's a dogwood over to your left that suddenly bursts open with all these pink flowers. The petals like tumble off seconds later, and the trunk collapses. Before the dust can even settle on it, hundreds of tiny black and green mushrooms sprout from its bark, which begin to crack and break down. And this is just happening like all over the place in front of you.
This seems pretty unnatural.
I come from a great golden city, and we don't have that many trees, so I was going to ask you if this is this normal? I suppose it's not.
I don't think I've ever seen this happen, but I've also never seen pigs. Oh, wait, I have seen pigs fly. Never mind.
Yes.
Right. Men, step lively. I believe that this land is possibly cursed or perhaps enchanted in some way. Obviously, I can lead us in, as I am the obvious leader here.
I am not afraid. I'd be happy to lead us if you're uncomfortable.
No, it's all right. You stay behind here. You've got to watch after Julia, right?
Right.
Yes, and get my boar. He's still attached to the eagle, I believe.
Oh, yes, I suppose I should untie the critters.
So Sir Marcus tromps off back to the eagles and unties all the animals?
Sure.
How's everybody doing for hit points? Does anybody need healing, actually? I'm
at less than half. So I think I'm going to do a little healing. Tell me to untie the bird critters. I'll heal myself and feel better.
Are you sure I could heal you?
How far are we from the edge of the water?
You know that it's kind of central within the oasis from what you could see. It would probably be maybe an hour or two march to get through to it.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Quarrel gestures towards the center of the forest where they saw the water and says investigate.
All right.
I'm going to cast a Cure Wounds on myself, if that's okay.
Okay. So some features that you can see kind of here from the edge, you see that to the west of where you are, standing quite a bit higher above the rest of the trees, there's this big flower. It's this big green stalk, and at the top is this gray mass. You see that there's these wispy yellow particles flowing off of it in the wind. To the east, there's a larger hill. You can see that the mass of trees kind of like arc up over something, so you might be able to get a better vantage point from one of those 2 points. And you know that the water itself was more central within the forest.
Oh, maybe up to the hill then makes sense.
Yes, I agree. Up to the hill.
So as you head into the forest, you see that this like remarkable speed of growth and decomposition is happening constantly throughout the entire forest. And as you enter in, the canopy kind of covers over, and then it breaks open and it covers over, and you occasionally catch glimpses of the sky, and time begins to unravel around you as the sun from clearing to clearing is in completely different points in the sky. When you came in, it was still early morning-ish. Now suddenly the sun is at high noon over top of you. A couple minutes later, as you kind of crest to the top of this hill, the sun is just peeking over the horizon. Beams of light are glinting through the branches of the trees, highlighting little motes of pollen and buzzing insects. It's like a brand new sunrise all of a sudden. Every blade of grass and leaf dances in the half-light, and you come through a stand of spruce trees, which has pine cones just popping and crackling loudly. Ahead of you is a meadow covered in these huge white blooms. They each tower above your head on these thick green stalks, and they kind of all like glow with this inner light almost. A breeze blows through, and they bob and wobble around you.
Freaky.
Does it look dangerous?
You're not quite sure. It's just like plants right now. Definitely more plants than you probably have ever seen, but you don't see any like beasts or anything like that.
Could we do would it be nature or arcana on the
You could do a nature
pollen
check.
sort of whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just an 8.
Okay. They seem like normal-ish plants, just way bigger.
Right.
Like absurdly large. And as for the time dilation stuff that's happening, you have no idea what could possibly be causing that.
Maybe we just shrunk.
Who knows?
I'm already small enough as it is. I don't want to get any smaller.
Let's get a look inside Virosh's head. Virosh, what are you thinking?
Virosh is like almost wondering if he's starting to lose his mind. Like he's never seen anything like this before. And, he tries to kind of like walk around in place and see if, the world seems the same everywhere around him. Stamps around on the ground. Like it doesn't seem real.
Right.
Either he's imagining it or it's artificial.
Right.
Somehow.
It's very dreamlike. And when you move from like 20 feet to the left to 30 feet to the right, the world does change a little bit, mostly in terms of how the light is playing across things. The features of the plants and stuff like that themselves stay consistent in that they're still like the same position or same place. They're just growing really fast or decomposing really fast. But the sunlight seems to change from depending on where you are.
He pulls his cat out of his bag.
Yeah.
And then puts Harold on the ground and goes and points over to another area and wants to see if like the world changes as the cat moves around or if it's like from his own perspective.
Right. And so your cat kind of like goes out maybe 15 feet, cackles are up, moving very slowly. And then you notice that as it gets further out into the plants, more of the plants around it begin to like pop or decompose or drop, and branches start to like fall around it, and it gets really startled, and it just like Harold just bolts back to you.
So like the world is changing around us.
It seems like
it's not an illusion, or not in his head at least.
It seems to be interacting with other creatures, not just yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless that's also in your head.
Whoa.
What about Sir Marcus? Are you riding Julia? Are you beside her?
I'm riding Julia. Julia is wearing some heavy barding. Yeah, Marcus is putting on his usual brave face, but he's actually kind of freaked out. Spent most of his life in this city, and he was not under the impression that nature normally behaved this way. And he is not quite as brave as the face he puts on, and he's not really sure what he should be doing. He's not really sure if he should be keeping Julia away from all these weird plants or if he should just let her eat them. Yeah, he's not really sure. He's also not sure about this Kenku, right?
Hey,
yeah,
watch it.
He's he doesn't know if maybe the Kenku, being bird-like, has any special insight into what's going on in this bizarre environment. Maybe it has any special connection to nature. And he's worried that if he asked, it would be racist.
Does he say anything to Quarrel at all, or does he just kind of like...
So he sidles up on Julia next to Quarrel and says, "So, how about those plants, eh? What do you think? They sure do grow fast, don't they?"
Well, there's two reasons this doesn't work. Firstly, Quarrel has no particular touch with nature or no particular connection with nature. He's used to the forges and the workshops and the being in the trench in the battles, right? So, no, he doesn't really know how to interact with all of this compared to he knows how to interact with a hammer and some nails, right?
Right, but he's also a Kenku.
He's also a Kenku, which
they
don't have their own language.
Right.
They can only mimic sounds that they've heard, including language. So he just kind of nods and says, "I'm not sure. I don't know."
Okay. What about Vlad?
Vlad is trying to figure out how he can convince Marcus to get Julia to eat some of this stuff or go smell some of the flowers. Because pigs can eat anything, right? And they'll survive. They eat like bodies and stuff. So he's kind of trying to think of a way to be like, Julia's looking pretty hungry there. So he's just thinking of a way to...
Are you going to say that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he can. If the time's right, once you guys have finished your conversation.
So maybe Vlad's looking around and he sees a little oak tree that's starting to pop like acorns off of it onto the ground. And there's this big pile of acorns kind of like spread across the path.
So yeah, he like takes out a napkin and picks it up and like, wraps it in the napkin. Walks up to Marcus and he's like, yes, Julia, she's got quite a heavy load to carry.
What are you saying? Are you saying I'm fat?
No, of course not. You're very small. But I wonder, perhaps, would she be hungry? I found this acorn here.
Oh, she loves those. Yes, feel free to feed those to her. She'll love that.
Oh, great. Okay, here, I'll just hand it over to her.
You pop the acorn. Julia like snuffles it up pretty quickly, chewing away happily and seems relatively unaffected by it. She gives you her hand a little nuzzle. It's very cute.
I give her another one.
So as you guys are kind of exploring this glade, you do get a better view from atop the hill. You can see directly to your, I think I said it was to the west, you see this giant tower flower that is like spewing off pollen into the air. You can see in between you and it an opening in the trees where you think probably this body of water was. And then as you are there looking and kind of debating in your minds maybe which way you should go, should you head for that, should you head for this, suddenly to the north of you, you hear a high-pitched whine. You turn towards the sound and you see careening through the sky 2 flaming black boulders. They're wreathed in fire and spewing black smoke behind them. They fall in this broad arc and crash into the forest ahead of you somewhere. You hear the crashing of trees as they roll through and come to a stop. Smoke begins to rise from parts of the forest.
Judging from the trajectory, did that come from within the forest or outside of it?
It looks like it came from outside of the forest. From the direction of the carrion line.
Yeah. So it might just be some misplaced fire from a battle, or misplaced fire? Is that not the word?
We should probably ignore it. I agree.
It's possible, however, that it's not just that, and it could be drop soldiers.
Oh.
Soot soldiers from the Herald of the Wrecked Comets army.
That would be
You've
worse.
seen them descend on the battlefield in similar styles before.
So we probably should at least investigate to see what we're dealing with. Is there a position on this hill that we could get a better look?
From here, you're kind of just looking down into forest. You can see that the boulders landed apart from each other. The forest is kind of quickly starting to shift back to fill the gouge that they had cut. You see the smoke rising from those 2 points.
Okay.
Let's investigate.
You guys want to head towards the boulders?
Yes, I agree.
Acknowledge.
You guys begin to head down and you re-enter the forest. And again, time starts to loop on you and do weird things. Can
I take out like a pocket mirror and like make sure my face still looks good?
Yeah, you pull the pocket mirror out, you adjust your hair, your beard's still all nice and trim, and your mustachios are in the right position.
Nicely curled.
Yeah, you look at your friends and you see that they too appear to be in pretty good condition, except for Sir Marcus, who's probably still down a couple hit points.
Yeah, I'm down 18 hit points.
Oh, wow, you're down a lot. Want my healing potion? I can give it to you.
I've got healing potions. I'm just reluctant to use them, but I guess I should probably use one of them. My previous attempt to cure wounds did very little.
Did anybody else lay claim to a potion of healing?
I believe I took one of them.
There's 3 originally, so one for Virosh, one for Marcus, and one for Vlad.
Yeah, I think Vlad will give Marcus his healing potion.
Well, I've got one.
Fine. I will keep it then.
Yeah, keep it. It's all right. I'll go ahead and just use one. Oh,
So much tension between these two.
I see none of that.
Wow, I rolled max that time. I rolled terrible in my cure spell, but that helped a lot.
Okay, good. So you guys go a little further, maybe 20, 25, getting close to 30 minutes of trudging through this super dense forest, and you have to cut some of the branches out of the way or make your way around big mounds of like root balls that have suddenly like propped up. And you part this foliage in front of you, and you see an immense building ahead of you. There are 6 fluted stone columns covered in dead, dried, woody vines, and they hold aloft a stone dome. The structure overall is capped with a golden orb, and you can see that underneath the open canopy, at the center of the columns, there's a stone statue covered in brown, dried vines.
any sign of those boulders? Like, it's still farther from here?
You're still further from here, yeah.
Okay.
You haven't got there yet.
Does it look like this place is like, abandoned or?
Definitely. There's dead plants all over the structure.
Hmm.
Can I see if I hear anybody?
Yeah, absolutely. Roll perception.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same.
19.
22.
Well,
Okay. In attempting to, really pay attention to your surroundings here and really listen to see if maybe there's danger around you, you suddenly come to the realization that the entire time you've been here, you haven't heard any animal sounds. No birds, no chirping of squirrels, no cracks and pops of footsteps, but just the crash and movement of the plants themselves. You, again, hear nothing here.
except for little picky noises.
Too quiet.
You described a golden orb at the top of the tower?
Yeah, like crowning the top of this dome. Atop, there's like a little golden cap on top of it.
And at the base of the tower, there was a little statue.
Yeah, it's like a canopy, and then in the center of the structure, there's a statue within those 6 columns.
Right. I think Quarrel would cautiously approach that kind of outer ring of towers or columns.
You get a little bit closer, and you see that the statue, parts of it, appear to be this damaged marble statue of maybe a pointy-eared dog, completely covered in like these dark, dead vines.
Is that the only plant that's not regrowing right now?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's no writing of any kind.
You might have to clear some stuff off.
Yeah, I'm going to start scraping some vines off with my warhammer, just sort of brushing them aside.
Okay. You manage to scrape a little bit off. You confirm, yes, this is a statue of a dog, and there's a plaque at the statue's feet. It reads, "Here lies Stonepaw the Loyal, who struck down the Herald's burning beast, stood fast upon the line, and defended the Hound Lord until the end."
Is there like pieces of the statue around the ground? Like, could we try to like put it back together or?
It's not necessarily that broken, but you can see that there are like cracks in the marble and marring, and it almost looks like hairline cracks from like constriction or pressure, where maybe the vines and plants themselves appear to have attempted to like grow through or like break apart the stone over time.
Is this territory that used to belong to the Hound Lord and has been pushed back by the Herald, or what?
The war has been happening for a long time, not necessarily your entire lives, but long enough that the border has changed and the carrion line has become more established as time goes on. So it's possible that at one point this was land controlled by the Hound Lord, yeah.
Because it felt like from our briefing that this was kind of unknown territory, or at least it might have been known territory, but now this new anomaly has appeared.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, as the war has kind of set in and as both sides took up their respective kind of territories, what is beyond the carrion line, it becomes a bit of a mystery because it's dangerous to send people back there to scout.
Vlad will put his hand on top of the dog's head and say, "He was a good pup."
Nice.
Good pup.
Oh, you knew him.
Yes. Well, I've heard stories, of course. I mean, yes.
Roll a history check.
Natural 20.
Oh, natural 20.
But -1, so 19.
Well, never mind.
Never mind.
He's just a good boy.
With a 19, Vlad, you know several survivors of this battle.
All of them very good boys.
All of them very
Very
boys.
good, yes.
And you know too that the Hound Lord forces really respect their war animals, and any dog that dies in battle is greatly mourned. Stonepaw the Loyal probably took down like a very large automaton and thus was honored posthumously. You know that back in the trenches, there would definitely be survivors of this battle, probably from like a decade ago.
Vlad shares all this.
Virosh nods to show he understands.
People do that.
There's the one statue of the dog in the middle, and then the 6 columns.
Yeah, it's just 6 columns holding up the dome above it
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
to shelter it.
I
Yeah.
got you, yep. Well, it's all very interesting, but I think we need to move on.
Okay. So as you guys move further on away from the structure, you re-enter the forest. And just as you're kind of entering back into the clearing, Julia squeals as some sort of root or something like that has like latched onto her legs and begins to pull at her.
Unhand my pig, you fiend!
Roll initiative.
It's a 6 for Virosh.
Okay. Quarrel?
18 this time.
Nice. Much better. Marcus, what'd you get?
7.
And Vlad?
3.
Okay. Quarrel. You spin around at the sound of Julia squealing, and you see this little vine that is latched onto her leg, spirals back into the forest, and then kind of attaches to this giant lump of plant material that just as you watch, sort of like shifts and lumbers in towards you guys. It's your turn.
Lame.
Yeah.
Nope. Like I said, don't know a lot about nature. 9.
It's probably like a tree or something.
Okay. Are trees good?
Like a tree?
I don't know. Are they good?
Mixed feelings.
Yeah.
How far away from me is Julia, and then the lumbering Hulk or whatever it
You're
is?
probably only like 10 feet away from Julia, and then this creature, whatever it is another 30 or 40 feet into the forest.
Okay. Sure. Well, I think Quarrel digs around in his bags and pulls out looks like a little dart, and magically propel it towards the massive plant matter.
With like force powers?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's just casting a spell, but it looks like he's doing something cool.
Oh, cool.
He's casting Firebolt.
Okay.
Ooh, 23 to hit.
Okay, you hit. So this little red bolt flies off into the forest, strikes this mound of plants, and bursts into flame.
15 fire damage.
Okay.
A flammable object hit by this spell ignites if it isn't being worn or carried. I don't know if it counts as an object or not.
It does not ignite. You can see that the fire does appear to burn parts of the plant matter away. It is this creature's turn, and it's going to attempt to grab and drag Julia into the forest.
No.
The creature's going to attempt to drag Julia. It goes for an attack. Ooh, that will actually probably miss. Rolled a natural 4. So yeah, I miss.
All right.
That makes it Marcus's turn.
All right. Is there a mass that I can...
Yeah, it's about 35 feet away from you into the forest. This big mass, a couple of vines have tendrilled out away from its body, and it's like attempting to grab it.
All right.
Julia.
I am going to cast Guiding Bolt
Okay.
at it. That's a 15 to hit.
That hits.
13 points of damage. And the next person to attack it has advantage.
Okay. Are you going to move around at all?
I'm just going to try to get Julia to push, to resist, to push away.
Okay, so you move a little bit a ways away, and the vines scrabble after you, but are not able to grab on. Virosh, your turn.
All right, so Virosh is going to pull out his 2 small hand axes.
Okay.
And he's going to run up towards this mass of leaves and vines and shit.
Nice.
And just try to hack away at some of it.
Okay.
It's a 19 to hit.
19 to hit hits.
Okay. 8 damage.
The first one should have been with advantage.
Oh, right.
Let's just roll again, see if you crit.
I did not.
Okay.
Okay. And then he's going to attack again. 23 to hit.
Yep.
4 points in damage.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's also going to use his bonus action to attack again.
Okay.
That is an 11 to hit.
Miss. All right, Vlad, you've seen one of your companions run into the forest after this creature, one of them shooting it with fire, the other running away after shooting it with a guiding bolt. What do you do?
I will also shoot it with fire by casting Sacred Flame.
Okay. Makes a dexterity saving throw.
14.
And I fail.
8.
Okay. What kind of damage does Sacred Flame actually do? Is it fire damage or is it
Radiant.
radiant? Okay. This burst of light explodes off the side of it, and the vines and mass or whatever it is that's making up this creature kind of out from it. It is Quarrel's turn.
Okay, well, he's going to do another firebolt for sure.
Yep.
Let's start with that. 14?
14 is a miss.
That's too bad. All right, so the bolt goes wide into the forest somewhere.
Yep.
A little fire explosion.
Okay.
As his bonus action, he can direct his workbench.
Yeah.
So he'll order the workbench to run over to Virosh and basically takes up a little defensive stance beside him.
Okay.
Lowers his guard and gets ready to jump in if you are about to get hit.
Okay. Sounds good. The creature is going to go. It's going to make Virosh and the bench both make a dexterity saving throw as these spines launch out from the mass.
17.
12.
12. Okay, so the bench will take full damage from this.
Oh, no.
Which is 8 points of damage, and Virosh will take half of 4 damage. Virosh, as you kind of take a quick glance down at your arm, you can see that these like seed pods have like lodged themselves lightly into your skin. You manage to just brush them off, but you look over at the bench and you see that these seed pods that have lodged themselves into the bench are beginning to like slowly sprout shoots and leaves out of them.
Wow.
It's then going to take a slam and try to hit you, Virosh.
So if it's attacking Virosh, it gets disadvantage from the Steel Defender.
Sounds good. That is only a 10 to hit.
That's a miss.
All right. Marcus, it is your turn.
All right, I'm going to dismount Julia and pat her on the rear to make her move a little bit further away from the combat. And I'm going to charge in, and I don't know if I can get there this round. I'm actually probably further than 25 feet away at this point.
Yeah, you are still a little bit of ways.
Right, so I'll just double move and get next to Virosh.
Okay. You're up to Virosh and the monster. Vlad, what do you do? Oh, sorry, Virosh. Virosh is next.
Okay, Virosh is going to attack again, but this time around he's going to use Restless Attack. So he gets advantage on all his attacks this turn, but till my next turn, attacks against me also get advantage.
Whoa.
Ooh. So you said restless, but I think you meant reckless.
Yes, Reckless.
Restless.
It's the kind of attack
But he is feeling restless. It's a restless attack.
Yeah.
And this time he's going to attack with his Great Axe.
Okay.
You're covered in weapons.
I am. Yeah.
The hand axes drops to the ground. Giant great axe comes out.
It's just like axe throwing on like Friday Night Axe Throwing League or whatever. Yeah, you bet. That is a 16 and a 21.
It's both hit.
Okay. That is 14 damage. And then
You did 2 attacks, so do your...
Well, I just rolled with advantage. I only attacked once. Yeah.
But you get to attack twice.
Yes. Which I'm going to do now.
Oh, okay. Right. I understand.
How did D&D work?
Sorry, for some reason I forgot the advantage part of that.
Yeah. 10 to hit. That's probably not going to happen. And an 11 to hit.
Okay, so both miss.
Okay.
So a big mighty swing from Virosh as the axe lodges itself into the tree trunk. This creature's like wood pieces begin to fly off, and it silently just kind of like shakes and moves and is attempting to like grab at you. You pull the axe back for another strike, and it just deflects off of another piece of bark. It makes it Vlad's turn.
How's the plant looking?
It's looking pretty angry.
It's
For
still
a
like
plant?
pretty put together. Just look like branches.
Mostly put together for sure. Yeah.
Okay, Vlad will extend his hand and say, "Get back, you planty grabby thing." And he will cast Toll the Dead, which is a wisdom save for you.
Okay. I fail.
Okay. 9.
9 points of damage?
Yeah.
That brings us back to round 2, Quarrel.
Okay.
So this sonorous bell tone rings out from Vlad, and the creature takes a little bit of damage. Some pieces of it get blown off by the sonic boom, dissolving into necrotic sludge, and then it comes back around to you.
Cool. I think Quarrel's going to mimic that cool bell sound, because that's a good sound.
Yeah.
And fire off another firebolt. 13, which I believe didn't hit last time.
No.
But then he'll bonus action get the Steel Defender to attack. He's got like some little manipulator arms on him, and he pulls out a hammer and whacks at him. Point. 19 to hit.
19 hits.
6 force damage.
All right. It flattens and starts to compress pieces of the creature down. And then it is the creature's turn. There's going to be another, like, as more seed pods shoot out. So reflex save from Marcus, Virosh, and the bench.
Reflex, is that Dex?
Yes.
Okay. And then I have Danger Sense. You have advantage on Dex saving throws against effects that you can see while not blinded, deafened, or incapacitated.
You have advantage.
Okay.
Workbench fails.
That's an 8 for Virosh.
Okay.
13 for Marcus.
All right, I rolled max. That's 12 points of damage. You guys said you all failed?
What was the DC?
14.
Oh, yeah, I failed.
That's a big fail.
We all failed.
Failed.
So 12 points. Those of you who are organic feel these seed pods starting to drive themselves under your skin.
Ooh.
The creature's going to take a slam. It's going to go for the bench.
Oh.
Whew.
I'll use my protection ability to impose disadvantage on this attack.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, that worked pretty well. This giant mass of branches rears up into the air, slams down, and the bench, Marcus just knocks it with his shield, and the bench hobbles off to the left, kind of as if you were to poke it with a hockey stick. And the arm or whatever it is slams into the ground with this.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Not you. Thanking Mike.
Sir Marcus, it's your turn.
All right. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to attack.
Okay.
13.
That is a miss.
All right. That's it.
All right. Virosh.
Virosh is going to do a reckless attack again with his big old great battle axe, great axe.
Mm-hmm.
On the first attack, that is a 17 to hit
17 hits.
for 6 damage.
Okay. And your second attack?
Also a 17 to hit.
Yep.
That is for 15 damage.
Nice. Max damage.
And as a bonus action, I'm going to enter a frenzied rage.
So do you have to spend a bonus to go into frenzy?
It says as a bonus action, enter a rage.
So you'll be able to triple.
I'll do that.
Next turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So you enter your frenzy, and Vlad, what you got?
I think I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon. I always forget when you cast it the first time, you get a...
It gets to attack that turn, yeah. And then you still have an action.
Right, okay. So I will do that, and then I will move it and attack it. 21.
21 hits.
Okay.
What's your spiritual weapon look like?
It is a boar snout on top of a long stick.
A boar snout, like head?
No, just the snout part of the boar.
Okay.
Yeah, on top of a long stick.
Nice.
What do you call it?
Snouty mixed sticks.
Okay.
Something. I hasn't thought about it. That's 5 damage.
Okay.
And then second action, I will Toll the Dead again.
Okay.
Some save.
Fail.
13.
At this point, you hear some footsteps running through the trees. Suddenly, a big chunk of the back of the plant creature just like burns off as this red beam bursts through it. You guys see this like heavily armored, vaguely glowing figure tromping through the forest at you guys. Quarrel, it's your turn.
Do I recognize this figure or what it might be?
Make a perception check.
14?
This figure's armor, it looks like igneous rock that's like melted and been like reformed back into armor. It's got like these melty, moldy kind of edges on it. You see these green and red glowing lines pulsing through the armor, and a big square-shaped helmet sitting on top. It's got this like larger version of the wand that you saw the Magman had before. This looks like it could be a soot soldier.
Certainly sounds like it, but that beam was clearly directed at the plant creature, right?
Seems to have been.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's still priority number 1. So we'll shoot another firebolt.
Okay.
17.
17 hits.
Just 3 fire damage.
Okay.
And then for his bonus action, he will direct the workbench to repair himself.
Okay. Bench is a he.
Yeah, I guess so. We just learned something.
Yeah.
Just takes his hammer and starts like getting rid of all those pods and vines and stuff that are indented.
Okay.
10 hit points back.
Okay.
Done.
It is the monster's turn, and it is going to attempt to slam. It is slamming you, Sir Marcus.
Oh, dang.
That's a 12 to hit.
Miss.
All right, so again, the vine just kind of like swoops over your head as the workbench like bumps up against your knee and causes you to duck slightly. That makes it Marcus's turn.
All right. I'm going to cast a cantrip. Never used this spell before. I'm going to cast Word of Radiance.
Okay.
And the way that works is you make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw.
That's an 11.
All right, so you take 2d6 radiant damage.
Okay.
That's only 5.
With that burst of radiant energy, the creature is blasted back, and you see sticks and vines and like patches of dirt start to like fall and crumble off of it, and it becomes this pile of rubble on the ground in front of you.
All right. Victory! For now, let us face the new foe.
Virosh, you see this soot soldier approaching you through the forest. Its weapon is still trained forward. As it comes closer, what do you do?
How far away am I?
You're probably 30 feet from it.
Okay, so I can get there in a single
You
round.
could, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to run up to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to, again, do a reckless attack with my great axe.
Yep.
Okay. That is a 21 to hit.
21 hits.
For 7 damage.
7 damage, okay.
And then he'll attack a second time. That is a 23 to hit.
Yep.
12 damage, and then because he's in a frenzy, he gets his third attack as well. 23 to hit. 15 damage.
Okay.
Holy.
Virosh runs up at this soldier, taking his great axe and just like slamming it into him 3 times. And then the third one right across the head, and the creature staggers and goes down to a knee, puts his hand up, and is like, "Please, no." Vlad?
Why are you attacking the person that just tried to save us? And he will run over.
Oh, right. I don't know. It seemed evil.
To see people.
You get up to this creature, Vlad. I would say you still have an action, but you can see that it is pretty wounded from Virosh's assault. You see these big rents in its armor and dents. The glow from it has turned more of like a red-orange for the cracks within its armor. And it is just like kneeling there, breathing heavily. Its weapon is dropped to the ground beside it. What do you do?
I try to talk to it.
What do you say?
Say hello. It appears that you are greatly wounded. I am also quite curious why it is that you have come to our aid.
Yes, I am very wounded. No thanks to your friend.
Virosh gives a little like, yikes.
You were frenzied.
Tugs at his collar. So we'll leave initiative. This soldier sits back against this tree, which is raining leaves down on top of him, and he breathes heavily, just sitting there, catching his breath. He draws his weapon closer to him and just props it up against the tree beside him. Looks at you and is like, "What are you doing here?"
You should answer that question before I answer yours.
I have come to burn the forest.
But why?
It all must be burnt. This land. The energies that conflux here have done more damage to the fabric between planes.
That sounds like a pretty legit reason. I don't know what you guys think, but...
Sounds like gobbledygook.
Still breathing heavily, he looks and sees the confusion on your faces. Our armies waging war here are nothing. Nothing compared to the destruction that will be visited on us by the Viridian Queen.
Totally unrelated question. Those spores that were thrown at us from the tree and are growing in our arms, how are those doing?
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Could I just cure disease on myself?
If you're going to spend the point on it, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll make the Constitution check first.
Yeah, Virosh will do that too.
That is a 12.
That's a 19 for Virosh.
Okay, so Virosh, you managed to just like squeeze them out like pimples.
Ugh.
Nice.
Just they like litter the ground, and you can see wherever they land, those roots like kind of like grab onto the ground and begin to grow these little flowery plants. Marcus, you do not save.
All right, so I'm going to use 5 of my lay on hands pool to cure a disease.
They shimmer into this white light, bursting into like confetti as they burst out from you.
Quarrel mimics him saying, Viridian Queen, was it? And then asks what that is.
Viridian Queen is a creature from the wild lands, another ascendant. She controls these forests. It is my duty to destroy them.
Who sent you?
The Herald.
So what's the worst case scenario again if we weren't to burn all this down?
If we do not burn it, the forest will spread. The Queen will gain a foothold and be able to cross over. No flesh is taboo for her, men and women to eat. No land is too holy for them to despoil. All of it.
So instead of you burning everything, she would take things over instead?
Yes.
Oh, So she's just as bad as you, is what you're saying?
She is indiscriminate.
Oh.
Would you excuse us for a moment, please?
Yes, we've got to have an aside.
Yes.
Excuse us.
Understood.
Group huddle.
Yes. So he kind of like tries to get you guys all in close.
You guys can walk over and you maybe get like 10 or 15 feet away, and suddenly the sun is like straight above you again, blaring heat down on you, high noon style.
Oh, I'm boiling in this armor.
Virosh like looks over his shoulder and gestures with his thumb at the soot soldier and just like shakes his head. No, not into this guy.
I'm pretty confused.
Yeah, he seems real upset that someone else is going to destroy the world before he gets to. I'm not sure I'm into that.
Well, I think he's suggesting that the Viridian Queen would destroy everybody, not just
the people he doesn't like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
But it sounds as though if he doesn't destroy this all, then the Herald will destroy it all. Is that basically what he's getting at?
He's saying that the Herald sent him to destroy this forest.
Oh, the Herald did.
Yeah.
Right, so we should kill him. Right, sorry about that. Okay, off you go.
Is there any use of making a temporary ally of him?
Possibly, if we could convince him not to destroy everything.
What I want to try to figure out is if there's a way to stop this incursion and keep the forest somewhat intact, because we're supposed to be finding useful resources here. So if there's like a source, a little portal in the center where this is coming from, if we can just shut that down, then that's good. But I don't know how feasible that is.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Virosh points at Quarrel and nods in agreement.
All right.
Shall we question him some more?
Virosh just like holds his axe up and shakes it a bit.
You want to ask him a question? Yeah. I think if one of you can find out from him, if there's some kind of source or epicenter, or if
How would Quarrel communicate that?
with a bunch of gestures and words,
Okay.
like you said, he's learned.
Yeah, sure.
He knows any word that he would need to reasonably communicate with his allies.
Or we could send Virosh and he could play charades.
Okay, so who wants to talk to him? Or what do you want to say?
Well, Marcus walks up and says, "Well, fiend, I'm disappointed that you've allied yourself with the forces of evil, but perhaps we can work together for a moment. We are interested in what's creating all of this. Do you know anything about that?"
There will be a source. I agree. We should work together. I cannot destroy this oasis alone.
So if we were to destroy this source, would that destroy the entire oasis, or would we then have to burn the thing down, as you say?
All of it must burn.
Well, yes, I gathered that part. Yes, I got the burning. The burning is, yes, I understand you like that part. But in addition to the burning, if we were to just destroy the source, would that then cause everything to burn, or would the rest of the forest remain until you came along with your burning and were to do the burning part?
That I do not know. I have not come into one of these forests before.
I see. Well, perhaps we could seek out the source and then go from there.
Agreed.
What does everyone else think of this?
I think Quarrel's fine with this for now.
I have no further questions.
No questions, Your Honor. The soldier appears to have caught his breath, and as you guys seem to agree to adventure forth with him, he stands up, holsters his weapon beside him, and you guys follow him out into the forest.
Maybe we better keep someone behind him well armed at any particular moment.
Virosh brings up the rear of the party.
Yeah.
Virosh almost killed him in one round, so.
Yeah.
As you guys make your way through the forest, after a little while, pretty quickly you end up coming to a huge scar rent through the ground. You look up and the sky is now set to night. This moon is kind of glinting down. The ground itself is sizzling with heat, and there's these faint flames still dancing on the toasted ends of tree roots. There's a dull orange glow emitting from the surface of this huge boulder off to the side, and you can see that there's this opening on the side of it. And it looks like this is, however, the Soot Soldier kind of like rode in on it, or inside of it. And you continue on a little way further past this, and you eventually come to another rent. This time, the boulder has crashed into the side of a little outcropping of rock and shattered open. You don't see a second Soot Soldier anywhere.
Is that your friend or his ship? Or boulder, I guess?
Yes, my companion should be there.
What's his name?
I guess I didn't tell you my name.
No, I don't want to know yours. Just your friend's.
His name is Yachum.
Gesundheit.
And your name?
Barcho.
Do you guys have like a connection? Do you know who he is?
I do not. We should look. Another warrior could help us greatly.
Do we know what's under the suit of armor here? Like, is it a humanoid creature or some weird magma dude? Or
You have no idea, actually. Such soldiers, when they die, explode.
oh, cool.
You know something's under there, though.
Yeah.
Do you want me to ask?
I think that would be rude.
Check out the boulder. Do you keep going? What do you want to do?
Sure, I guess we can check for tracks.
Okay, you head up to the boulder. You see cracked inside. You see this like metal seat inside of it, and the inside has little levers and controls and stuff like that that probably are used to maneuver it in flight. Make a perception check, whoever's checking it.
20.
Ooh, nice. So Marcus, as you're kind of peering inside, you're able to get in and behind the seat, and you find a little wand, a little bit smaller than the one that Barcho is carrying, but it looks to be another one of these laser weapons that he's got.
I'll hold it up. Look what I found. It's a pointy light thing.
Quarrel's like already up in your face examining it.
Oh, you want it, do you? Very well. There you have at it.
Quarrel picks it up gingerly and looks it over from top to bottom.
You are not proficient with this laser pistol, but it will do 3d6 radiant damage if you hit with it. It has a reload capacity of 2. After you shoot twice with it, you'd have to spend an action to reload it.
Right.
Barcho sees you take the weapon, and you can see that he kind of like stares at you a little bit too long, but then after a moment turns and looks back into the forest.
Any sign of footprints?
Survival check?
Not my strong suit.
I'll look around too.
7.
11.
Okay. Vlad, you were able to see burn marks on the ground of footprints moving away from the boulder. Almost like the armor was like red hot when he or she exited the boulder. They go a little ways and you follow them out into the forest, and then you see pinned to this large tree the body or the armor of a soldier, pinned to it with dozens of arrows piercing it down. There are these like black shafts with green leaf-like fletching on them. The armor is ruined and has ceased to glow, and there's this giant rent in the chest, exposing a tangle of bloody ribs.
But he didn't explode.
It did not.
Does that mean it's still alive, probably?
You're not sure?
Is that your friend?
Yeah, Barcho, I'm afraid that looks like your friend met a gruesome end.
Barcho walks up to it, looks at the body, and just is silent.
If you need a moment, we could take a break. I could use a short rest.
Virosh nods in agreement.
Yes, I am a priest. I could perhaps say a few words.
Barcho looks back at you. He looks at you, looks back to the body, and then turns back to the force and is like, "We must go." And he walks away from the body.
So no rest then. Let's go.
Virosh rolls his eyes and follows along.
Can Quarrel grab one of those arrows? Is there one maybe that's just in the tree and not the body?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. He'll investigate it later, but he just wants one.
Okay. You guys head off into the forest. That's it for part 1 of our session today. We'll be back again in 2 weeks with the culmination of Oasis Down. You can find House of Bob on all of our social media outlets, such as Instagram and Twitter at The House of Bob. Join us on Patreon to support us and help us grow. You can get access to episodes early. You can see PDFs of all of our zines and RPG supplements. You get hours of bonus content like director's commentary for House of Annihilation and several other one-shots. We'd like to thank our Patreon supporters, Volt, Luke Conroy, Sylvia Douglas, Mike from the Tales of the Glass-Guarded World podcast, Kieran Duffy, Jessica, Blocket 12, Robert, Tom Wesley, and Ray Kearney. Artwork for this episode was by me, Shaun. I'm at Shaun Makes on Instagram and Twitter. Audio production for this episode was by Alex of Astronomic Audio. Music for this episode was by Mike Hammock, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution.
Is this kind of like that movie with the girl soldier who goes into and like all the time's all messed up?
Annihilation?
Yes.
You probably get a similar feel to that.
Okay.
But this is legally distinct.
Legally distinct. Something totally different is happening here.